Hey, we're coming. We're heading to the end of this whole exciting chapter of our time together, and for the most part, man, great job. I threw a lot at you, but I gave you a lot of time to get some stuff done. Last couple weeks were really, really easy. I mean, we got introduced to classes and we did a little bit of inheritance, and that's just kind of a preview of hey, that's what's going on. But this, to me, this is the power of object-oriented programming, and it's called composition. So we have inheritance, which has a relationship, right? Or is a relationship. So a dog is a animal. A horse is a animal. So you can have an animal class and inherit a bunch of animals from it. In fact, we do in 1437 and other object-oriented classes that I teach at other universities. We always start with the mammal, right? Because that's our hierarchy. So then we have a mammal, and then we have then we break off into mammals, and then we do. So that's just a relationship. But this is all about composition, and this is what probably you're going to use. This is really important for your final. This is great for your composite for your fantasy fighting game. So pay attention to this. Please watch the video, do the work. It'll make all the sense in the world. If you're addicted to using chat and do it for it doing all your homework, I know your final. I know what it's supposed to look like. I mean, it's a whole letter grade. I'm not worried about dropping those 200 points on you if it's not done right. Okay, so let's talk about composition. All right. So inheritance and association are two of the four pillars of object-oriented programming. They're essential to object-oriented the paradigm. Inheritance and composition are a type of associations, are both methods of code reuse. Both techniques are means to create objects from another objects. Here's the thing, inheritance allows objects to be constructed by extending an existing object. Animal, base class, derived class, horse, dog, cat. They're all animals, right? Composition allows objects to be built using other objects as components. Composition is where two objects interact with each other. A car has an engine. An engine can be an object inside the car class. So the car can have, so you could build an engine class, an engine object, and then just put it in the car. And when you need maintenance, you can just maintain the engine. And then the car has the engine. It's pretty cool. So it's not boring. Okay, and we can't learn about dragons. Just stay with me. This is a very important part. Very to be creative with this. But if we wanted to, we could learn about dragons. But not. You could build a dragon if you wanted to. So it could be one of your villains. I've had people put dragons in as their villains. So let's keep going with composition. So inheritance C++. We did this last week. It just is a relationship. Quick, fast, and simple explanation of inheritance. Allows the developer to use code functionality from a parent class. The animal class is a superclass. The dog class inherits from the animal class. When writing the dog class, we can use the functionality of the animal class. It saves us time and it helps with maintenance. So when doing a FPS or a first-person shooter game, I can just have a fighter class. And then I can make as many different fighters, but I don't have to rewrite the whole thing. I put all the base material in my fighter, and then my other characters can just siphon off of that. So a dog is an animal. That was last week's assignment. Composition is a hero is a player, and a hero has weapons. Okay, you see that? So a hero is a player, and a hero has weapons. So this is where our object has an object. A car has an engine. This is different than inheritance because the relationship is different. In composition, the object can access another object as its data member. The hero needs a weapon. Without it, he's not much of a hero, right? The car needs an engine. An engine is complex. To maintain it inside the car would be difficult, but build it on its own, where you have access to it, it's easier to maintain that complex object. But the car has an engine. Our hero is going to have weapons. I'm a big fan of composition, not a big fan of inheritance, but we use it, but composition is where it's at. I think it allows for a lot of code reuse and easy maintenance. It also helps projects become more collaborative. If we're building a large application, one team member could be responsible for a specific object. Once that's built, it can be used inside the other object as it's needed. Back to my first-person shooter thing. Any weapon class can have a lot of derived objects. Those objects can have composition that makes maintaining and development faster. So here's how we can code this. And I'm going to post this code for you. It'll be in a text file. I want you to copy and play with it. I'll show you on the last slide. We'll run through it really quick. So here's my weapon class. Notice I have the little semicolon at the bottom here. Okay. So here's my weapon class. And it says, oh, I think I can draw here. Yeah, hold on. Yeah. So make sure that you have the semicolon after you everything inside of here. Keyword class, private instance variables. What makes up my weapon? These are the things that make up my weapon. These are the verbs or the nouns that make up my weapon. I have a type and I have how much damage it is. That's my weapon. It's not very complex, but it's a weapon. And then I have my default constructor, which is just empty. And then I have my parameterized constructor. Notice it's the same name as my class, but there's no return value on it. Now I'm going to pass in, when I make my weapons, I'm going to pass in type and damage, okay? And then I have a getter method, which just says I have a knife and it causes 5 damage. And then I have my damage. It returns an integer. So I can use this when I take my weapon, my hero takes my weapon and hits a villain, I can change weapons and get more damage, right? I can start with a sword. I can move up to I don't know, whatever, a large stick. Okay, so that's a really simple class, right? We should be able to follow that really quick. Type and name, it does one thing. We can call it to see what we have. And then when we call damage, it can return damage. Now, damage can be anything. You could make this random, and it could be random. You could do random, and then when you pass in the D, if you did like rand, A, N, D, if you did rand in mod D plus 1, then your damage is randomized, right? It's from 1 to whatever you passed in, so you can control that yourself. All right, so now we have our guy, and now we're going to build our hero class. And our hero class has got a couple things in here I want to talk about. I've included weapon, okay, and I'll show you how to do this when I go over to my compiler. I've included weapon, because we have to use it, so we have to bring that over. Just like we include vector, we include IOStream, we're going to include our class into the hero class. And I also have a vector because I'm going to have a vector of weapons. Now here, right here, I make a vector of what data type? Well, the data type is an object. So the hero can have as many weapons as the hero can carry. That's up to you. You're the programmer. And my hero is pretty simple. Remember this, please. Hero is very simple. The hero has a name, and then the hero gets to choose his weapon. So in my constructor, I'm going to do name, and choice is going to be set to 0. Okay? And my very first weapon, okay, I have my club is going to be 10. Now look what I'm doing. I'm calling the weapon class, and I'm building a club, and I'm passing in club and 10. And then I have a knife, which I conveniently misspelled here. Then I have a knife, and that causes 20 damage. Then I have sarcasm, which causes 30 damage, because nobody wants to be called like sarcasm. That hurts. And then I have airbending, because we got to go something avatarish, and that causes 40 damage, right? Now look what I do here. I put them in my vector. You can use pushback each time, but I've already made my weapons, vector called weapons, see right here. And then I just push back, or I make club, knife, sarcasm, and airbending. Okay, so now I've populated my weapons. Now the hero now has weapons. And look at my choice. See out, I call it choose. So I'll show you how to build hero. I call it choose. And it says your weapons, and it cycles through my weapons, right? And then it cycles through my weapons, and look, it calls the weapons vector at index 0, and then it calls get weapon. And that'll show me my weapon. Then it calls vector index 1, get weapon, index 2, get weapon. Each of these inside of the weapons vector is a full weapon object. So this is all of my knife. And my knife can be more complex, but for this it's not. And then it asks me to choose weapon, and I choose the weapon. Then if I want to show the weapon I chose, I say, okay, show weapon. Weapons, and whatever I chose, it's just going to, that's what's going to be my choice. And that's going to get weapon. Okay? Just like this. And then, look, here I'm using my weapon. And then that's my weapon that I chose, and it's going to get damage. This returns damage, so you can use it how you want. That's pretty cool. The Heroes has weapons. You'll fly through this assignment. But I want you to practice with this because it's going to be really helpful. All right, we're back, and here we are in the main. Now, when you build your things, you need extra. When you want to put things into different files, just click right here and then name it. I just did that, and then I called it weapons.cpp and hero.cpp. Now, in my main, I'm going to include hero. In my hero, of course, I include weapon because the hero has weapons. In the main, I'm initializing the main. So again, you go through here. Here's the same code that I have. And there's my weapon. And here's my main. And let's run it really quick. I make a hero called Leo the dog, right? And then I'm going to let Leo choose his weapon. I'm going to show you his weapon, and then we're going to use his weapon. And this returns an integer at this point, so I can use that to fight a villain. So I can make another villain, and I can just like we did with the structures. Same thing. All right, run this. Okay, at 0, I have a club. It causes 10. So I want to pick something. I'm going to pick sarcasm at index 2. And it says I have sarcasm. It causes 30 damage. Here I'm using my weapon. It causes 30. So this returns 30. So if I hit my villain with my sarcasm weapon, it'll take 30 points away. That's composition. Make sure you watch the homework helper video. Reach out if you need me. We got about 2 weeks left, maybe 3. You'll have 2 weeks for your final capstone to get done. And I'll be around if you need me. I'm proud of every one of you. Okay. I hope you're having a good time. I really like this class. Let me know if you need help. All right. We'll talk when you need me. Bye.